today we are back with another episode of the Wilmington Spotlight. And today we have a special guest, one of our local business owners. And do you want to introduce yourself? Kind of tell us.
Sure. I'm Laurie Penney. I'm from Wilmington, and I work for a brokerage called ERA Key Real Estate, but I actually run my own team, which is called Team Blue.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on is you're a longtime Wilmington resident, right?
Yep.
And you've raised multiple kids in town.
Yes, I have 5 children that all went to Wilmington High School.
5 kids that went through the schools. All right. Cool. That's actually why we had you on, one of the reasons. So can you tell us a little bit about how you landed back in Wilmington with business and everything? Have you always been in Wilmington?
Actually, so my father actually is a graduate of Wilmington High School, too.
Okay.
So we came back to Wilmington in 1980, I believe. So I was in 4th grade. And so that's how we ended up in Wilmington. Yeah. And then business-wise, I don't know. I just like houses, and some of the family members are contractors, so it just seemed like a good fit.
Yeah, that sounds like, you work where you live and it makes it easier. So can you talk more about that? What's the current state of the market in Wilmington? Like, what's real estate? What's going on? What's going on in town?
So Wilmington's one of those hot towns, one being we're so close to Boston. So people do like that. So you got the suburbs, but you can also go enjoy the city life pretty easily. So that's pretty much a big ticket item, I think, for Wilmington. Reading, same kind of thing. But, yeah.
Now, that has a lot to do in real estate. They say location, location, location. So we're right near the 93-95 split. So, we're really in the main artery of everything, right?
Yeah, it's great because if you want to go to the beach, too, you can just hop on and you can go to Gloucester, you can go to Hampton, you can go anywhere.
And New Hampshire's like 15 minutes north. It's incredible how much we really are around. Probably makes sense why there's an Amazon and a... what is it? UPS, Amazon, FedEx, all right there off the highway.
Yeah, and 7 Dunkin' Donuts.
And 7 Dunkin' Donuts, right. You can't forget the Dunks. This is New England after all, so, So a couple of the other things we wanted to talk about today is, it's been a hot topic, obviously, with rates and the real estate market and prices exploding everywhere and things of that nature. What is the current trends? What are we seeing in Wilmington itself? You said it's a hot spot right now.
It is. You kind of got 2 worlds going on. We have some people that really want to downsize because the houses are too big, right. But there's not a ton of small houses, not a ton of ranches. Now,
another thing in Wilmington that we've noticed lately that I've seen, I don't know if you would have thought this possible back in the 80s when you were growing up and stuff, but $1 million listings in Wilmington. I think the price of houses are definitely skyrocketing and stuff of that nature. So.
Yeah, we've had a lot of new construction. Not a ton, but enough. So all those have been priced over $1 million. So it's definitely bringing the average up. Since the beginning of 2024, it's been very scarce of listings. Right. Not enough houses on the market. So as soon as they're on, they're usually gone as long as they're in good condition.
It's the peak season. So this is supposed to be when it's the most supply on the markets right now, huh? Let's get right into what advice would you give to somebody that's looking to start a family or buy a house in Wilmington, or somebody even downsizing maybe? What are the advice you have for this area?
So I'd say for a seller, if you're really starting to think that your house is too big, you're only using 2 rooms, not to put pressure on yourself, but start purging, getting rid of your stuff, cleaning out your closets, your kids' old hockey equipment. If they're not coming back to get it, get rid of all that kind of stuff. And then get ready to sell it. If you need to paint, maybe take down some wallpaper. Do that over time so you don't stress yourself out. But those are the things that would help your house curb appeal.
And that's the seller's side. That can be a mad rush, feel like a lot of pressure when you're ready to sell. So it's good to do it over a more drawn-out period. Now, what about buying in Wilmington? Any suggestions on that?
So buying in Wilmington is pretty tough in all the neighboring communities. But you just got to really get yourself a good loan officer, know where you're going. If you have habits and stuff you want to do, I should say hobbies. If you have hobbies and stuff that you want to do, still continue playing golf on Wednesdays or whatever it may be, make sure you put that into your lifestyle because you don't want to be stuck to your house the rest of your life.
What are some of the things you can do around Wilmington for hobbies? What are some of the attractions to this area?
So Wilmington has a few parks. There's Yentell Farms, which is good. It has, basketball courts all the kids use, and then it has the artificial field. The high school has tennis courts that you can use. Obviously, people use the track. And then, there's some walking parks around. I always go to the reservoir, which borders Burlington, but it's a good nature walk.
Beautiful area. I mean, I actually personally live also in Wilmington, so I'm a little bit biased, but I can say it is a great area. Seems like an awesome place to raise a family. We just started, so we're getting there. What are some of the local schools like? Do you know anything about this area? I mean, you said you put your kids through the schools. What are they like?
So the town has grown a ton. So when I went to the Shawshene Elementary, it was K through 6. Now the Shawshene Elementary is 1 through 3rd. So it's grown. So the kindergartners go to one school. They go to the Boutwell, then you go to the Shawshene, then you go to the West, and then you go to the middle school.
So all these schools have pretty good reputations, and they rebuilt the high school, they said, right?
Yep, that was 2018.
Yeah. Really? Was that recent, huh? That's amazing. That place is incredible. We were in the auditorium the other day for the town meeting. It is beautiful inside there. So what else you got for the actual real estate insights and tips? You got anything personal that you tell people about? Any hidden gems that you know of in the Wilmington area?
Well, Wilmington has the 2 train stations. A lot of people do like that. If you're going to go into town, it's a little easier to get into North Station if you zip onto the train.
So it's got a couple different MBTA stations that say the commuter rails run right through town. That is a huge plus, not to mention we have the highways right next to us. All right, so let's talk about what is it you do when you're not working around Wilmington? What do you and what's your husband, Tim, I believe?
Yeah, my husband's Tim. What do we do? I personally like live music, so I usually try to find places like that that have a 2-man band kind of thing.
Let's talk about some of the upcoming updates and things that they're doing around town. Now I see that they're building a new town hall, a new senior center and things like that. As far as residential, what are they doing? Are there any condos and their constructions coming up?
So for new construction, I know obviously everyone's been seeing the apartment buildings being built up. There's the ones going to be coming up on Eli's, across the street from Eli's. And then you have the ones that are being built across the street from the Intel Farms. Okay. And then there's some more being built off of West Street.
Geez, that's a lot of development. That's good, though.
And then for new construction, I mean, I know there's some smaller new construction. I think there's like a 6-lot subdivision coming up.
Okay.
And then there's still, Darby Lane is still going. I think he has a few houses left.
This town's quite old. Are there old houses, stuff of that nature? Are there any that you know of?
Yeah, so recently I just got to list a property that was built in 1809. So it's a farmhouse. It was on Woburn Street, 642 Woburn Street. But it was great because the sellers preserved a lot of the property. And then they, added some modern stuff, finished the basement. It's amazing to see a house that was built and they have a finished basement. They exposed some of the brick. It was really interesting.
That is cool, because this town has a weird mix there. It's got a lot of new construction, like you said, in the cul-de-sacs, stuff of that nature, but it definitely has houses that are a couple hundred years old. I mean, that one is dating what is that, over 200 years right there.
Yeah, I mean, then there's, on that same strip, if you continue down Woburn Street, there was another property that was sold probably like 3 years ago, and the same thing, a family restored it. It looks really good.
So what tips would you have for any families that are raising their kids? What would you suggest? Is this a good town to live in, you think?
Yeah. I mean, I utilized the recreation department all the way through. My kids did tiny tots and all that kind of stuff. We did the sports camps. It was just always good things. I mean, even when I was young, we used to do the recreation, used to pick a bus and bring us to Hampton Beach. So the town always had recreational things going on.
Now, I sometimes hear North Wilmington, like Silver Lake and stuff like that. So as somebody that's an out-of-towner, are there sections of town that are considered different than other sections, like that people talk about?
No, I don't really think so. I mean, North Wilmington, I guess back in the day, there used to be arcades. So there used to be an arcade in North Wilmington, and then there was one near the plaza called Game World.
There used to be a movie theater, too, they said.
That was before my time, but yes.
Okay. And so where was the arcade?
So there was an arcade. It's called Big Joe's, where the train station is. Okay. That used to be an arcade. And then Game World used to be right next door to Samad's, that little plaza. And then there was one here in North Wilmington, too.
Oh, really? There were that many arcades? I had no idea. Actually, Sam and Brett both brought up the fact that there isn't a whole heck of a lot to do there's no kids center or anything like that. I mean, arcades are a bit.
Yeah, well, they used to have the youth center, but it's been closed down because it's had to be remodeled or something.
Okay, yeah. They're rebuilding the town hall, the senior center, they said, and there's a couple more projects in the works, but that might be one that they might revisit, especially with. Now, you're seeing a lot of downsizing, a lot of new families coming into town. Would you say the population's, changing a bit, or do you think demographics is?
I mean, with all the apartments, the population's definitely going to be changing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will really go into the school systems with apartment living, but I'm sure there's going to be some growth.
Now, is apartment living as popular with kids, or is that less popular with kids?
I usually see them as mostly single adults or just getting married.
Yeah, so
in
you're
apartments.
starting out, not yet full families and things of that nature. All right, so that'll definitely change if they're building 3 new apartment complexes and stuff. The new construction is not keeping up with that, you don't think? I mean...
No, I mean, just the stats alone. In the Northeast, the new construction can't keep up with the amount of people.
Right. Only 8 houses on the market is incredible. That is a very minute amount compared to how many buyers there are out there these days. One thing we haven't touched on yet is what have you noticed about home prices and availability in this area? I think they're going definitely higher than they were, let's say, even 5 years ago.
Home appreciation, if we just look at the average sale price in the last 5 years, it's like an average of your sale price has gone up like $25,000. So in the last 5 years, people have made like $125,000 in appreciation.
On homes, 125 is the average, huh?
Yeah.
There's some a lot more than that.
Yeah, it's just grown a lot. But it's the Northeast. A lot of people are coming up here. So Wilmington, I think, is one of those towns. I mean, I grew up here, and like I'm still in touch with all my high school friends, and I feel like one of the good things about Wilmington, if someone in need, a community event, people have these cancer fundraisers and stuff, and everyone kind of comes back for it. So it's always like not a high school reunion, but you'll see people from like a decade of people that will come and help out. That's one thing I like to see about Wilmington, like people stay in touch.
Yeah.
And help out people on the way through.
It seems like a really close-knit town. That's something to really touch on there, because the theme of the last couple of people we've talked to is definitely, when someone's in need, when there are things that this town needs as a community, people really do band together and seem to come together on a lot of different issues. I know that we have, WOW. I know that we have, that's Where One Wilmington, I believe,
yeah,
and stuff of that nature. And I know that we have a great present drive for Christmas and stuff like that. Patrick even said part of the July 4th committee's whole thing is that, the community works with the people, and we kind of support a lot of our own local programs, stuff of that nature.
Yeah, the WOW group came about, I don't know how many years ago, but it was called something else at the beginning. But that group is really good, because you always hear, tragic things, and they're doing stuff behind the scenes and getting right over there with meals and everything, and then they coordinate after the fact.
Definitely one thing that if you don't know about Wilmington, which I've realized since I've lived here, is that, when crisis does happen, when things that aren't popular happen, or, maybe it's a tragic event, there's a ton of support networks that step up in the background. Like you said, they don't really make it a big thing, which is probably why you don't hear a lot about it, but there's a ton of support in this town, and I think that's one of the vibes I really love about it. So
yeah, that program's good. They do the Festival of Trees, which is great because they raise money for things throughout the year. They already have that source in, so when we do a fundraiser, we once or twice a year we'll donate back to WOW. It's just easier because they already have all the channels going. Like, they know who needs the help and what families or whatever happens. So
as
good.
A business owner, it's a theme that a lot of the people I've spoken to, it's really unpopular to give back in this town, like really to work with a lot of these other programs and stuff. So WOW is one of them. What other programs do you think of in town that are great?
The firefighters do their Toys for Tots, okay. Which I have a good friend, I want to say he's been doing it for, my son's 29, so he's probably been doing the Toys for Tots probably for at least 20 years, 25 years. And he used to do it at his house, but it's grown so much, and now he goes to the nights. And everyone brings the Toys for Tot. I mean, it's crazy how many people come, but it is pretty cool.
So you got your Toys for Tots, WOW. I know that obviously, like every town, there's the youth sports and stuff that you can always sponsor and get involved in. As a business owner, what else do you see that's really awesome around town?
The vets. Lou does the vets, the wounded warriors.
Wounded warriors stuff?
Yeah.
There's a big vet population in Wilmington?
I think there's a big vet population. I know a few years back when we had all those ice dams, there was a lot of vets that, their houses, the gutters were all falling off and stuff. So Lou was asking around for people to go help shovel off the roofs and stuff. So I know my husband went and volunteered, but I know there was a lot of other people that did.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So, all right, getting to the end of this, what is the future you see for Wilmington? What direction do you see it all headed in?
I think Wilmington's doing a good job. They're trying to keep the town itself, as a town and not get too busy. Right. But it is growing, but it's just the population. It's nothing we can do about that. People are living longer, and so people are here.
Right. And they're doing all sorts of apartments, and they're building, it seems, around town. I mean, it's going to be beautiful. The new high school they have, like you said, the new town hall, the new senior center. And that seems to be hitting on all different sides. I think next up are going to be some schools for the younger kids, so not just the seniors, but the younger generation.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see another senior living center.
Yeah.
Obviously, because people are living longer, and I feel like...
What's that like in town? What's that?
So the senior living center in Wilmington's Demings Way.
Okay.
But that's...
The population's outgrowing it?
It's definitely outgrowing. The wait list is really long. It's like you should sign up at 30 if you want to be on that list.
Oh, geez. I didn't even know that. Well, that's another great spot to get involved if people want to get involved. So, well, thanks for the economic update on everything that's going on with real estate and things of that nature. And not to mention, you have grown here, so it's nice to hear from another member of the community that has a family here and stuff. Any other tips you can give anybody? Yeah,
just be patient.
Be patient right now.
Yeah, be patient.
It's a seller's market, right?
Totally a seller's market. If you're even thinking of selling, now is the time, because there's so many buyers out there that you're going to get the best that you can possibly get.
I mean, if there's 8 homes on the market, I'd be able to get to all of them within 2
and out of those 8 homes, one's at 2.4, I think. One's at...
So that one's out.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of homes that are,
There's a $2.4 million house in Wilmington?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
There is.
Times are changing around here, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is.
So it's time to sell if you want to.
If you're downsizing, now's the time.
And so what about buyers? Any tips for them right now other than be patient?
Yeah, buyers, you just got to put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And whoever your agent is, they should be able to drive you through there. But it's
tough time to buy a house right now.
It's tough, but it's doable. I mean, we're still putting buyers under a contract.
Well, thanks for coming on, Laurie, and we'll go ahead and have you on again soon.
Okay.